Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. This is another one of those monthly readings, only this time we're going to be looking at September. As usual, we'll be looking at each of your birth months for September. And as we go through, if you haven't been here before, then you might find something that's quite different from the usual sorts of predictions that are made on YouTube. If you are a regular viewer, then welcome back. I hope that your August went as it should have, and if you used the colours that were missing to incorporate those into your lives, then maybe, just maybe, it was a better August for you than it might otherwise have panned out. I'm particularly thankful to you for attending these sessions because I really am still in the experimental stage, wondering whether or not these are worthwhile. But they're fun to do, and I hope you enjoy them as well. So let's get started. For September's readings, I've chosen an oracle card from the Gabrielle Bernstein's The Universe Has Your Back. It's a new season, and so we should have some interesting stuff coming to us from the universe. And hopefully those messages will resonate with you and consolidate some of the reading as we go along. All right, people born in October, this is your colour reading for the month of September coming up in 2025. We'll begin with an oracle card. Let's see if I can shuffle any better this time. A slight improvement, nothing major. So choose this card and put it under here to look at the end of the reading. And hopefully it will tie in with what we have to find for you in September. As usual, these cards are pre-shuffled, so they don't need a great deal of mucking around with now, which is probably just as well, because I'm not very good at it. All right, let's go. All right, coming into the month of September, we have white on white. For the majority of September, we have orange on red. And for the end of September, we have grey on grey, and the underlying energy is white on black. Now, there's only one energy here that is repeated throughout the month, and that is the colour white. White occurs as both the action and the underlying need or drive in what you are bringing with you from August. It also occurs as the action of the underlying energy. Now, one of the interesting things about having the same colour both in the top and the bottom of the circle is that there is a restriction in what you can do at the time. And this restriction can make it very difficult for you to move from whatever position you are in, whatever desire you have, to a different sort of action, or that the actions that you take will produce exactly the same response internally without any changes taking place. The fact that you've got it a third time also means that it's extremely important to you. Another interesting aspect here is that we have white and black, which when we put them together create grey. And grey here is another one of those circles where the top and the bottom are exactly the same. Now, there are only 12 of these single colour cards in this set. To have one is unusual. Two is extremely rare. And any more than that, and there are some real problems showing. So here we have two, and they mean that there is a certain restriction going on in your life. But the fact that it's all achroma, that is, There is no color in white. There is no color as such in black, and grey also doesn't have a specific type of hue. So even though we talk about these as colors, the three of them together, this white, grey, and the white-black combination down here is the underlying energy, means that there are certain restrictions that will be happening in your life throughout the month of September. So let's have a look at them in more detail, shall we? When we have black as an underlying energy, and this is the energy that permeates throughout the entire month, what we find is that there is a desire, a need, a drive to remove yourself from whatever it is that has been happening to you, probably as a result of what's happened in the past, but also because you need that time out to recuperate, to recover, to get your act back together again, to allow yourself to get in touch with your inner self, and also to begin to rely upon your own intuition in order to move forward. Where we strike a problem is that your actions that come out of this wanting to retreat are the exact opposite. Black and white are opposites. They're not on the color wheel as such, but they nevertheless represent opposing forces. So the need or drive to remain hidden, to keep secrets, to keep away from whatever it is that is happening in the real world, causes you in the real world to actually become quite active. You're out there, you're learning things, you're being curious, you're getting engaged with things that are happening out there. They may not necessarily be anything that you desire or particularly want to engage with, but experience is happening even though you want to avoid it. That's a rather uncomfortable position to be in, particularly when we look at what was happening in the past. We have here white on white. So it means that whatever you were experiencing in the real world, whatever you were doing in the real world, was causing a flash internally. So you're learning an awful lot of stuff. You are being exposed to an awful lot of stuff. You're experiencing awful lots of stuff. But is it stuff that you really want to get involved with? White on white resonates with one of the tarot cards called the Page of Swords. So it's all mental energy. This shows an exhaustion of thinking, an exhaustion of brain power. You've been exposed to bolts of lightning or bolts of sudden information. Something new has happened. You've suddenly been enlightened. In the real world, you're finding out, and what you are finding out is a shock. This entire system of white on white from the past is a mental shock. It's only a small one at this stage because pages, after all, are only minor energy, but nevertheless, it's sudden and it's something that you have not been able to avoid. As an underlying energy, it has also tended to create more of that shock experience, even though it's no longer shock internally because you're trying to avoid it now. All the same, that shock is permeating whatever it is that you're going to be doing throughout the month. If we look at how the underlying energy impinges upon this, if we take the white over the black, we still have what is our underlying energy. If we take the white and white here, so from the action back to the need or drive, then we still have this here. So there is very little in the way of change, of any sort of power that you have over what is happening to you. And it comes from this massive enlightenment, this massive flash of mental energy that has impinged upon you coming in from the past. Where does that lead you? Well, for the majority of the month, and this is the only card that looks as though it's got any energy in it at all in this reading, this means that whatever has happened here, this sudden enlightenment, this sudden being exposed to information, has made you angry, has made you frustrated, will make you feel as though you need to do something drastic, something dramatic. But in the real world, What you choose to do, in fact, is simply confront whatever it is that has caused this flashback here, and to stand up for yourself and to determine that you are going to make a change, make a difference to whatever it is that you have been doing in the past. Orange on red resonates with another one of the tarot cards. This time it's the King of Wands. You are involved with lots and lots of masculine energy, power coming from inside, and in the real world you are determined that you are going to make the rules. You've been exposed here to a lot of information that has come at you thick and fast, and you haven't had much opportunity to control it. Now you're going to find yourself throughout the month of September being in control mode. You will determine how things will proceed forward. If we look at how the underlying energy impinges on this, we have a slightly different picture. Orange on black means that this feeling of having to get away from things, to retreat, to take time out, to even act as though you are depressed and upset by something, will in the real world create some form of crisis that you will need to manage. And because of this red-orange energy here, this King of Wands energy that you have in the main part of the month, you'll find that the darkness that comes from the underlying energy, that getting in touch with how you really feel about things and what you really know about information that's come to you, including information from yourself, that you will have that supporting this red. Whenever we darken a color down, and the red and black here as a darker red, the more grounded that becomes. You are absolutely determined that you know exactly what it is that is upsetting you and how it is that you're going to deal with it. So the orange on black allows you that ability to go ahead and survive whatever calamity might just be around the corner or might be perceived to be around the corner. On the other hand, white on red, the white action over the red drive as a mixture, is a different reading again. This time it's exhaustion. It's also a tarot card, and this time it's the Ten of Swords. There is exhaustion. It's the end of a cycle. You have had enough. You have been bruised and battered. You have spilt blood, even metaphorically, of course, or because this is all internal. It's not actual external activity. So you've sweated blood, shall we say. And in the real world, every bit of energy that you've had here stored up, all that pent-up energy has been dissipated to the extent where there's nothing left to give. Yeah, there's a song that comes to mind, which I'm not going to repeat here because it will get me taken off YouTube. But yeah, you've got no more something or others to give. And that's what this is all about. But it's also a ending of a cycle. So it means that once you've decided, once you've determined what it is that you are going to stand up for, you're going to find yourself heading in a different direction, and hopefully that direction will be something that enables you to start off a new life. And in a way, that's exactly what is represented here with the grey on grey, because coming into your future, there is an uncertainty, there is a little bit of confusion, there is a cloudiness about where you're going to go next. Probably because back here, what you have been exposed to has created so much cognitive mismatch. It goes against what you have believed in the past, all of your certainties that come from inside. This has challenged everything in your life. And now, where do you take that? Well, you take it forward by simply allowing yourself to make one step at a time, one after the other. Don't fight it. Just simply one foot after the other, after the other. And as you keep moving, as you keep progressing into the future, you'll find that things become gradually clearer. And we can see that by the grey, the need to overcome that uncertainty and confusion when it emerges as white in the real world. You are lightening up the grey and you are coming to new realizations, new beliefs, new ways of doing things. On the other hand, you could also take a different path again, this time by having that need or drive for removing yourself and allowing the confusion to take place. Now here we're darkening down the grey when we add those two together, which means that you're becoming more solidified. You're starting to decide just how intense your future is going to be. It starts off a little bit confused, a little bit uncertain, but it begins to consolidate out into something a little more solid, or allows you to move into a totally different direction depending on whether you go the white route or the black route. But the grey means that you haven't decided yet. So let's have a look at the colours that are missing, because they will guide us to what it is that we might need to do in order to move forward in the least punitive way. Well, let's have a look. We've got black, there's white, there's red. There is no yellow, however, or green, or blue, or brown. You do have orange, you have grey, but there's no purple, there's no pink, and there is no cyan. So what we have here are 5 colours that will represent the skills that you can carry with you throughout the month of September that will help you to move from a state of total over-awareness, hyper-vigilance, through to a state of, well, hang on, let's settle back and allow things to take their course step by step in order to move forward. On the other hand, these colours here represent what it is that you need to incorporate into your life. Yellow is about developing more knowledge. It's about learning something and remembering it. Green is about finding space and changing values and beginning to see things in a different light. Blue is about getting yourself organized. And in getting yourself organized, also start to look after yourself, because blue is all about nurture. Brown has to do with developing skills and attributes that are necessary for you to be able to meet with the various different goals that you have in mind. Purple is about not only destroying what was in the past, but also recreating it to something new. So here we have healing taking place. Pink is vulnerability. Pink has to do with not having any energy, but it also has to do with being able to move into a state where you are quite prepared to allow things to happen, because ultimately pink is baby energy and babies cannot determine what will happen to them. So it's allowing things to happen. And finally, we have here cyan. Cyan is bliss and harmony and peace, feeling inside and out. Look at those 7 colours and determine which of those is the most appealing and which is the least appealing. And in the process, decide how you're going to put those into your life. When you do so, hopefully what you have presented yourself here in the month of September will now begin to move into a different direction. And you'll find that the grey that seems to be insurmountable fog becomes something that is a little bit more colourful and allows you to grow. So let's have a look at what it is that the oracle card had to say about the subject. Whoops. What we have here is Well, through prayer, let me just get that centered. Through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. Well, that's interesting, because prayer and meditation is what this underlying energy enables you to do. Peace in the world has to do with cyan. So maybe, just maybe, this is giving you a clue as to which color you should be aiming for next. Will you take it up? And there you have it, your birthday month as it plays out for September 2025. I hope that these readings are useful to you to help guide you through the various different decisions that need to be made and the activities that accompany those decisions. But if it doesn't resonate immediately, perhaps come back in a week or so, because you never know just how these things tend to play out. And often we don't recognize them unless they are in retrospect. As I mentioned at the start, I pre-shuffle all the cards, and if you want to know how I go about doing this, I will attach a link to the video that explains that down below in the show notes. But if you've got any comments to make, any ideas that either support or even refute the sort of information that I'm handing out here, please leave them in the comments. I'm more than happy to engage. After all, a discussion isn't a discussion. A conversation is not a conversation when there's only one person doing the talking. So for September, I wish you all the best. I hope your colours work for you. I certainly use mine. Mine this month were all about to stop, settle back, and reorganize. And as you can see from the way in which I've presented this month's sessions, I've done a little bit of just that. So until next time, may your colours guide you to a wonderfully fulfilling life. Bye.